quickly return with a breaking news update coming in. This is with regards to yet another bomb threat that's been received by the Air India Airlines. This is another Air India flight that's received a bomb threat. Delhi-Chicago flight receiving a bomb threat, and given this, the flight has been diverted to Canada. In fact, the flight received this threat via social media, and it's a second such flight just today to have received a bomb threat. And if we look at the statistics over the last 2 days of the fifth flight to be receiving such a threat. I want to go across to my colleague Yash joining us with more details. Yash, tell us a little bit about the developments that have taken place ever since the airlines received this threat. The flight, we're learning, given this threat, has been diverted to Canada.
Well, absolutely, Christine. The flight right now is stationed at the Iqaluit International Airport, which is in Canada. In fact, we have also able to manage to access the visual of the very aircraft at the isolation bay. Well, like you mentioned, this is a second such threat which has been received by a flight operator here in India today. In fact, earlier it was an Air India Express flight, and now it's an Air India flight. In fact, Air India has also come out with an official statement on this very matter, where they have mentioned that this very threat was actually received via unverified social media account. And in fact, earlier also, when we talk about the other flight which had received the threat, was a Jaipur Ayodhya flight which had received the bomb threat. But earlier only the Air India Express has said that not only Air India Express but other carriers had also received a similar sort of bomb threat. And now what we are learning that this very flight, all the checks and balances have been done, and in fact passengers who were in this flight and this very Canada flight, in fact those passengers have been also they have been deboarded from the aircraft, and in fact after thorough screening they have been assured that their flight or in fact different arrangements will be made for them. But in fact till now this is something which is very worrying, because in the last 5 days, in the last 2 days, this is the fifth such threat which a flight carrier has actually received. Though in all likelihood, what the sources within Air India are suggesting us is that all these threat calls are taken with the utmost priority, and that is why all the.
But in this case, Yash, do we have a confirmation on whether or not this was a hoax bomb threat?
Well, Christine, officially we are yet to receive a confirmation about this, but in all likelihood it will be a hoax call, because this is one such message which has been received by multiple carriers throughout the day today and yesterday via this social media message. Yesterday also the flights which had received this very threat later deemed to be a hoax one, and in fact today also in some time from now we will be knowing the status of this very call. But in all likelihood it will be a hoax call, because at this juncture all the carriers are saying that this is something which has happened with them at a large scale, because it's not just Air India or Air India Express but multiple flights. Yesterday, like Indigo had received this threat, so we are waiting for an official confirmation, but looking at the modus operandi of this, it looks like a hoax call.
You know, Yash, every time there is a hoax bomb threat, we see the manner in which it creates a lot of inconvenience for the passengers, leads to a lot of delay, triggers a security situation, immediate security situation. But what is really being done about this kind of a menace? Because it's becoming very, very routine, and we've seen several such instances come to light in the recent past.
When we talk about these bomb threats, this is not new, like you mentioned. Now we are seeing that more of these calls being made to air carriers and to the aircrafts. Earlier we had seen how these calls were received by different schools and different establishments across the country. So this is a big menace which the higher authorities definitely need to counter. In fact, some days back only DGCA talked about, and in fact the BCS has also talked about this very menace. But as of now, this seems to be out of control, because these messages are being received by the carriers via unverified social media accounts.
Okay, many thanks, Yash, for joining us with all those details. That's all the time we have in this edition of Nation at 5. Thanks for watching. On the other side, Plain Speak with my colleague Poonam Burde.